Texas law and current South Dakota laws to make sure we have the strongest pro-life laws on the books in South Dakota. So South Dakota, Matthew, is today trying to outdo Texas. Where are we heading?
Well, I'm listening to this conversation, and I was listening to that question that got asked Jen Psaki and Jen's response to this, and I'm offended by that guy's question. I'm somebody that was raised Roman Catholic. I'm a Christian. I go to church every week. And the idea that these folks think that the word pro-life belongs in their mouth, it ought to be ripped out of their mouth, because these are folks that constantly talk about pro-life and want nothing to do with doing anything about guns, want nothing to do with doing anything about capital punishment, want nothing to do with doing anything about funding health care of the people that may be born because of this. They're not pro-life, they're pro-birth. That's who these people are. And they have nothing to, the words pro-life of the people that support this ought to never come out of their mouth again. And the idea that you're going to use faith as an attack on this when the President of the United States and other Democratic legislators are actually trying to protect harm from occurring to half of our population in the midst of this is offensive to me, that he would try to use faith as a way when every single other taking care of immigrants. They want nothing to do with taking care of immigrants. They want nothing to do with taking care of the population that is hungry or is homeless. They want nothing to do with this. But oh, by the way, we got this special thing that we want to get done. It's offensive to me, and Democrats ought to push back on this. The GOP today is not the pro-life party. The GOP today is the pro-autocracy party that whatever they want done by a tiny segment of the population is going to get done. And as was just said, it's not going to stop in Texas. It's going to happen after red state, after red state, after red state. And if this is not enough to get us off of our seats and onto an election and fight for this, we have to fight for the rights of every single person. And today, that's fighting for the rights of half the population of the country.
I mean, Matthew, not to belabor your perfectly argued point here, but being pro-choice isn't being pro-abortion. I mean, there is a successful linguistic turn that the right has played here. But being for the choice is being for a woman or a girl who's been raped or is the victim of incest to not die in pregnancy or childbirth. I mean, the choice is very much pro-life too. It's pro the life of a girl or a woman who, for medical or socioeconomic reasons, can't bring a child into this world. And to your point about the Republican Party being pro-death, I mean, they're fitting their own herd. They're prominent right-wing radio hosts who lost their lives, who were purveyors of COVID disinformation and have tragically died. I think there's some right-wing podcast guy who's sick. I pray to God he recovers and is well and healed. But the right as a pro-life party is dead and gone, killed by their own COVID lies.
Well, yeah, I think you bring up such a good point, Nicole. And as I said, I'm a Catholic and I'm a Christian, and I've struggled with this issue all along. I'm pro-life and I'm pro-choice, because in the end, what I believe is that who should make that decision? Who should make that decision? A very moral decision in some people's mind, granted, yes. But a very personal decision that is a very tough decision, probably the toughest decision any woman has to make in her entire life. Who should be making that decision? In my view, that decision should be made by the woman in consult with their doctor, not by some nondescript Republican state legislature out in the middle of nowhere who wants to make that decision. So yes, it is a tough decision, but in the end, the woman ought to make that decision with her doctor.